What's up, guys? Today we're going to be discussing the Samsung Galaxy A22 versus the A20. So you can pick the A20 up for well under 200 bucks. You can actually pick it up for around 150, if not cheaper. I'll have those links down below. A22 will cost you around 236 right now. That's the cheapest I've seen it. So let's go ahead and get started. The A20 is a phone that a lot of people still have. So is the A22 worth the upgrade for people with the A20? So let's go ahead and find out if it's going to be worth the upgrade for you. I think I want to start off with the hardware here because honestly, I think this is one of the biggest updates to the sort of like A series as far as like the 20 series goes, and I think this is a much better looking phone. I think they did a great job with upgrading the look of the A20. It definitely does not look anything like a budget phone. I think it looks extremely solid here as far as the A22 with the matte finish, so you don't pick up fingerprints like you would on the A20. And I think overall just looks solid. It does not look cheap. We got our physical fingerprint scanner, volume rockers. We also have headphone jack, USB-C, speaker. I think the A20 has aged really well. I don't think it's an ugly phone. I think it looked good for the time, you know. But you have a power button, volume rockers on here, headphone jack, USB-C, stereo speaker as well. I think one of the biggest like design changes that they really do here is the camera module. You can see everything has a square sort of thing to it now. So, you know, I think that gives it that more modern look. But overall, I'm liking the matte finish. Alright guys, let's talk about the display on both of these phones. So, I'm not going to lie, this is a awkward part of the video because it is weird. So, on the A20, you actually have a Super AMOLED display. And it is a 720p plus 268 for the PPI. On the A22, you have a TFT display. It's 90 Hz, 1080p, 399 for the PPI. So, honestly, I still prefer kind of the A20's display here. The Super AMOLED display looks beautiful as far as the colors go, and you actually have a kind of slimmer bezels on here, but that's not even what I'm talking about here. So, you know, 6.6-inch display, you can see it's much bigger than the 6.4-inch display as well. So take that into consideration. My thing is like the colors on here. So you can see me shifting the phone. You can see how the A20 is holding the color and brightness. The A22's display is nowhere near as bright and nowhere near as colorful. So does that make up for this phone having 90 Hz and 1080p? So I think it does, but it really comes down to the person. Like, to me, I just really like the brighter and the more colorful display on the A20. For a budget phone, I can do without the 90 Hz. But as far as like the viewing angles and it not being as bright, you know, I like the A20's display a little bit more here. So I know that's kind of a strange thing to say, but like I said, you will feel that 90 Hz display on the A22, and when you watch YouTube videos, you'll be able to watch them in 1080p as opposed to the 720p plus display. So, you know, I'm sort of torn between the two. I think they're both great displays, but overall, it really comes down to your personal preference here. But like I said, I really like the A20's display. I think overall the color and brightness is definitely a plus for me. Alright, so let's talk about these specs a little bit more. So on the A20, we're running Android 10. It is actually upgradable to Android 11. I haven't got that update yet. But you're running the Exynos 7484 chip, Mali G71, micro SD support, 32 gigs of internal storage, and 3 gigs of RAM. And on the A22, we are running Android 11 with the MediaTek 705G chip, Mali G57 GPU, micro SD support, 128 gigs of internal storage, and 6 gigs of RAM. So as you can see, as expected, we're going to get better scores on obviously the newer phone here in both the single and multi-core scores here. Let's go ahead and launch Play Store. A22. So again, I will upgrade for the speed. I think the 90 Hz with a better chip, I think is definitely something that I would think about upgrading for. Boom, you can see already in. Let's try Subway Surfer again. And as you can see, I have the brightness on both of these. You can see maxed out. So if you think I'm not like dimming the display, it's just, you know, it's not. So you can see we're already in. So I think the biggest difference here from a 2 generation, you know, device upgrade is that you're going to see a big speed difference. So with like I said, I know it sounds like a broken record, but when you have 90 hertz with a faster chipset, that is the thing that you're immediately going to notice. Now, so let's try just one more here. No, I don't even have it on here. Okay, yeah, I do have it on here. Google Earth. So we can see the A22 is going to be the much faster device here. Now, for all my gamers, here are your PUBG settings here. So on the A20, as you can see, we get smooth, high. That's pretty much it. So we can only go up to high FPS. And then on the A22, you will get slightly better graphics. So that is something to, or FPS. So you can see we're on smooth ultra. But, you know, we don't have ultra on HD. But we do have that. So you do technically get faster frame rate. If you're somebody that plays a lot of games and you're deciding between these two phones, I think they both do a great job. But the A22 will definitely, you will definitely see an upgrade in terms of gaming performance, and also games that are compatible with 90 hertz. You will definitely notice that as well. So they both still play games pretty well. The A20 does do a great job, and like I said, the screen to me is more enjoyable, but you definitely get the occasional lag here and there on the A22 or the A20. So you might want to turn the graphics to smooth, and yeah, you'll get a much better gaming experience. But with the A22, you just pretty much leave it at the highest settings it can go, and it'll play pretty smooth. So overall, you will have better gaming performance on the A22 for sure. Now let's go ahead and check out our toggles here, see if we have anything different on the A20. So we do have secure folders on the A20, and we don't have that on the A22. And also, is Samsung Edge still on here? Yeah, Samsung Edge is something you have to download on both of these devices, but other than the secure folders, they're pretty much the same. And I want to talk about the fingerprint scanner. So I'm 100% in love with the fingerprint scanner on the A22. It's on the power button, and it's super easy to get to. You also have face unlock. I just think this is a more efficient way of doing it. The A20s is on the back, and it is fine. It works very fast. I just prefer it to be on the side. I just think it's just easier to get to. You also have face unlock on the A20 as well. There is something that I do need to mention. You do have NFC on the A20, and you do not have NFC on the A22 5G here. So that is also something to think about as well. So they both have single firing speakers. So let's go ahead and see which one has the better sounding speaker, starting with the A20. Yeah, so the A22 is much louder here, so you can tell right off the bat. Yeah, it's just overall the better speaker, so I would give it to the A22 as far as speaker quality goes. Alright, so let's talk about image quality. So I was pretty surprised here. We did not see a big upgrade here from the A20. I know it's kind of shocking, but I went out and took photos, and I was getting, to me, some of the photos I preferred on the A20 hilariously. So the A20, we'll start off with that one. It's got a dual camera setup, 13 megapixel standard, 5 megapixel ultra wide. It shoots in 1080p, 8 megapixel selfie, shoots in 1080p. The A20 still takes some excellent photos, guys. Do not be fooled. It takes good photos. I mean, it's good dynamic range. The ultra wide retains pretty good color. Detail is there. Yes, are you missing like a depth sensor or a macro and stuff like that? But as far as just taking stills and good lighting, the A20 still does a perfectly good job, especially at the price point it is right now. So I was really impressed with that. I was hoping to see a bigger improvement, but putting them, you know, sort of side by side and looking at them, I just did not see the big improvement there. Even though you have on the A22 a 48 megapixel standard, you are not seeing like the big difference as far as detail and stuff. I did not see it. I zoomed in, I did everything, put it on the computer. I did not see the difference. So I was pretty shocked by that, because I was expecting to see much better image quality here. So you have a 5 megapixel ultra wide as well as a 2 megapixel depth sensor, 1152p for the resolution on the video, and then 8 megapixel selfie that shoots in 1080p. Like I said, both phones are taking excellent stills in good lighting. You take them out of good lighting, they'll sort of take softer, sort of grainier photos. But overall, I think you'll be perfectly happy. I'm a little disappointed that we didn't see a bigger upgrade, but I think the upgrade here was more towards the hardware and the overall display with the 90 hertz and stuff like that, the chipset. So I'm not super bummed because the A20's cameras were already good, so they're still, you know, good. Alright, so another area where you're getting a pretty big upgrade is with the battery. So the A22 has a 5,000 milliamp battery as opposed to the 4,000 milliamp battery on the A20. So you're getting a much better battery life on the A22. You can definitely squeeze like 2 days of battery life out of this phone. Is really nice. The A20 still has pretty good battery life. You can definitely squeeze a day's battery life out of this phone as well, but it's definitely got this phone beat in terms of, you know, screen on time. So what do you guys think of the A20 versus the A22? Are you going to upgrade? Be sure to let me know, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.